WWE stars have tried to get Omos fired. Vince McMahon is starting a new company. Fear over WWE's major new industry move. And more. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Get exclusive bonus videos over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. What's up, all my Homo sapiens? Indeed. Omos is so tall at 7'3", WWE actually couldn't fit him in developmental. He was born main roster size, in Vince McMahon's eyes. So just a year after he first started training with the company, he debuted on Raw as the Giant Ninja in Akira Tozawa's Ninja faction. It was the pandemic, we all did things we weren't proud of. He then became Shane McMahon's doorman for Raw Underground. Again, it was the pandemic, we all did things we weren't proud of. And then he was packaged with AJ Styles as the Diesel enforcer role to AJ's Shawn Michaels. He eventually made his televised in-ring debut at WrestleMania 37, no less, where he and AJ beat the New Day to become the new tag team champions. They would have feuds with RK Bro, and Omos would win the Survivor Series 2021 Battle Royal. He split from Styles at the start of 2022, where he beat AJ in under 4 minutes. Vince McMahon was using a large portion of WWE's mid-card, as well as Styles and Orton, to get Omos over. But apparently, behind the scenes at the same time, some were trying to get Omos fired. Omos's big singles feud after splitting with Styles was against Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania 38. When speaking about that match, Lashley has told the Lame Guys podcast when he first came on, they were gonna fire him because he hurt a couple people. He's a frickin' giant. He was wrestling with certain people, and there was a couple people like, gosh dang it, and yelling at him and trying to make him look bad to the office and trying to get him fired because he hit a dude hard and stuff like that. Perhaps some of those opinions stayed in Triple H's memory though, as since he took over creative in mid-2022, he has mostly been booked to beat Akira Tozawa on house shows and hasn't wrestled since the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal back in April. Lashley said he relished the challenge of trying to make an Omos match work, as opposed to what some of the guys are like who he claims say, I want to work with my buddy because we can make a cool match, we can do cool stuff. Lashley, he knows what company he's about to sign with, right? Lashley's WWE contract expired in August, where he's since been very open in interviews, talking on everything from Triple H not pushing him once he took over, being offered a fight against Mike Tyson. In the same Lame Guys podcast, he revealed he'd lobbied WWE to have another wrestler join his faction with the Street Profits. Montez Ford's real-life wife, Bianca Belair. This would have required her to turn heel though, and presumably get less over by wearing a suit. Do you like Survival Series? Well, now you can watch Survival Series with movies. The brand new episode of Cutscene Survival Series has gone up on our other movie channel, where the cast try and name every Stephen King horror movie adaptation. Here's a clip.
It.
It?
So I'm going to say It.
Weird that they didn't put that really awful scene that's in the book into the films.
I don't know what you mean, Sullivan. Would it have made it hard to market that movie, perhaps?
Stephen, what were you doing? Why did you write that scene?
That was also kind of a TV movie event. So I don't know if that also counts, because they then did It Chapter 2. But I don't know if the other It, the one with Tim Curry, counts. Like I don't think that counts, so I'm not going to say that one.
It, and that by that I meant the original, and then there's It, Chapter 1, The Losers Club, which is the name of the new It. It Chapter 1 and then It Chapter 2.
I'm gonna have to strike you based on the clarification. Okay. The original, is a mini-series and doesn't count.
Does it not? Okay.
We cover a lot of sensational wrestling stories on the WrestleTalk News. Firings, backstage brawls, that time Hulk Hogan was accused of accidentally throwing a can of his own brand beer into a woman's head. But occasionally, one comes along that doesn't sound sensational or big or major at first glance, when it could actually change the entire wrestling industry. Maybe for the better, or maybe for the much, much worse. In an evolution of WWE's Next in Line program, where the company recruits promising college athletes to train as wrestlers, they have now announced the launch of WWE ID. This is a new, first-of-its-kind developmental program, but rather than be aimed at college athletes who have no experience in wrestling, this one is for independent wrestlers seeking a pathway into WWE. The ID in the program's name stands for Independent development, and it sounds like it's going to change the foundations of the North American wrestling scene. WWE will provide prominent independent wrestling schools with the WWE ID official designation, with the goal of providing new trainees and existing talent at these select institutions with enhanced developmental opportunities. Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Houston; Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, Atlanta; Seth Rollins' Black and Brave Academy, Davenport, Iowa; Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center, Concord; Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center, Concord, New Hampshire; and Knox Pro Academy, Los Angeles, are the first WWE ID independent wrestling schools to earn the official designation. Additionally, WWE ID will identify top independent wrestling prospects with an official WWE ID prospect designation and support their developmental journey by providing financial opportunity and assisting with training, mentorship, and development, including access to world-class facilities, best-in-class ring training, athletic trainers, and more. WWE ID will give fans the opportunity to follow the paths of these standout prospects on the independent wrestling scene through curated behind-the-scenes content, as well as highlights and matches showcased across WWE's social platforms. In other words, NXT's NXT. At first glance, this seems like a brilliant move. Now free from Vince's intense dislike of anything that isn't sports entertainment or potential new stars who don't fit his big beefy guy image, WWE can embrace the larger wrestling scene down to a grassroots level. Becoming a wrestler can be expensive and make it difficult to hold down a full-time job. This program, in theory, will support the next generation of wrestlers to enter the industry. And by having designated WWE ID schools, trainees don't just have clearly signposted ways to hopefully one day get to WWE. It should act as a stamp of approval, especially in quite an opaque world of wrestling trainers and schools that can still be dangerous and exploitative. This could be a huge step in the continued legitimization of the wrestling industry, which still does have one boot in the carnival mud from which it came. And the reaction from many wrestlers has been excited for all those possibilities. Rookie independent wrestler Eli Knight has posted, "Closer and closer to the goal. What a crazy time for wrestling. Sheesh." Veteran indie wrestler Ricky Shane Page tweeted, "You don't know badly the indies needed this. This is awesome." Even former WWE stars like the Bollywood Boys have been positive. "So many folks at Defy deserve to be seen. Amazing talent pool. This also gives us the confidence to continue our grind." PW Insider adds that the former Ring of Honor and Evolve booker Gabe Sapolsky will be overseeing the ID program after years of scouting different schools and indie shows, and that the idea would be for the Performance Center to be the finishing school, with a lot of the development happening in the ID program first. This sounds like it's a rare example of a big, multi-billion-dollar company doing the right thing for the industry to help everyone involved. Onwards! Onwards, I say, to a bright new future for professional wrestling! I'm just going to check something, actually. Just let me Google British wrestling from 2015 through to about 2020 there, yeah. Okay. Just one more thing. WWE have done very similar things multiple times before, and it's always been terrible for everyone but them. WWE has a long history of partnering with independent promotions, and in every single one of those partnerships, those promotions have eventually been sucked dry of talent, becoming a shadow of what they were at their peak. The most recent, and close to my heart example, is how WWE gutted my beloved British independent wrestling scene in the mid to late 2010s. Back then, promotions like Progress, What Culture Pro Wrestling, ICW, and Rev Pro, with rosters that included names like Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Pete Dunne, and Keith Lee, hundreds of shows were run up and down the country in a thriving independent scene that could see a wrestler work 3 to 4 times per week. And the more the younger wrestlers worked, the better they became more quickly. Maybe because of this, or maybe because British wrestling tries to bring back the World of Sport brand every 5 years, ITV relaunched the historic brand as WOS, giving national TV exposure to British wrestling and its talent. While that ended up fizzling out after one series, WWE didn't know that ahead of time, so they launched NXT UK. While William Regal claims WWE always had plans to do this, the timing was rather coincidental, as NXT UK was announced just weeks after ITV revealed their WOS plans. WWE signed up the majority of the country's best talent to guaranteed money deals, which was great for the wrestlers, where a steady income could be interrupted by injury, but it did come at a cost. Despite initially saying NXT UK was a force for good in Britain, WWE started enforcing the restrictions in those contracts more and more heavily. First saying NXT UK contracted wrestlers weren't allowed to lose to non-contracted ones in anyone's shows, to then that they weren't allowed to feature on those promotions' streaming platforms, to eventually pulling them from events altogether. To compare the fates, Progress and ICW, two WWE partner promotions, have significantly decreased in popularity since, whereas Rev Pro, who declined WWE's offer, is going stronger than ever. It's now widely agreed that WWE used NXT UK as a way to destroy potential competitors, first with WOS, and then locking up the UK scene from partnering with AEW. PW Insider is reporting I'm not alone in bringing this comparison up, as a few independent promoters we spoke with this AM have already worried that this could be the American equivalent of WWE signing all the British talents ahead of the launch of NXT UK a few years back. And the C4 Wrestling promotion has posted, the point of independent wrestling is for talent to discover themselves, to develop themselves, to grow, to learn. If you claim to be an independent but are bound to a billion-dollar company, you're not an independent. There's concern that if WWE starts enforcing their in-house style on these training schools and indie promotions, the innovation that keeps moving wrestling forward will be stifled. But really, I kind of see the indie promotions as collateral damage. I don't think TKO really cares about the Maximum Table Fight 6 show in your local scout hut. To me, I see this as another move in Triple H's cerebral assassin 4D chess game against AEW, where new talent could be locked up in WWE ID deals rather than pursuing a path to become all elite. What do you think about this story? And before you comment, remember, I had everyone telling me very strongly that NXT UK would be great for British wrestling. Comment down below where I'll be replying to you from out of the future, saying WWE run everything now. There's no alternatives. Everybody works the hard cam when there's nothing there. The show isn't even being filmed. And also, See No Evil 39 has just been released in cinemas, produced by Vince McMahon. After resigning from TKO back in January following Janelle Grant's lawsuit allegations, being currently under federal investigation and not coming across that well in his Netflix docuseries, PW Insider is reporting that Vince McMahon is planning to launch an entertainment hub company that would financially back, develop, and produce film and television productions. This reportedly won't be anything similar to WWE, as I expect a non-compete would have been in place from when he left TKO in regards to wrestling, and it will focus on fiction and non-fiction projects. Apparently, several WWE alumni are working on preparing the project, including Brad Blum, WWE's former chief operating officer, who is described as a Vince loyalist, and Kristen Prouty, who was released by WWE earlier this year, where she acted as a liaison between WWE and the entertainment world. Right now, Kevin Dunn is not involved, but you'll be able to tell if he does become part of it when the eventual first film has 70 edits a minute. I just hope Vince doesn't have the mustache anymore. Can you hear it? The music again. Can anyone else hear that? Look, I've got to go now, but click the video on screen to watch the latest episode of Survival Series. This time with scary movies.